Okay, so here we are in Sketch Retopo. I'm going to import the base mesh, which is going just to be the video pants that we started from Marvelous Designer. And we're going to get them standing straight up. Okay, so normally when you should have watched my other video in Sketch Retopo. So I'm going to move pretty fast in this video. Look up Sketch Retopo in YouTube, and there's a wonderful guy. There's one of the guys who worked on the original program, Sketch Retopo. He did a series of like 5-minute, maybe 10-minute long. I think most of them are 5 minutes. I think 1 or 2 are 10 minutes long. There's like 10 short tutorials that go over everything in Sketch Retopo. So it's a wonderful video series. Definitely look up that. He has a playlist for it. So okay. So we're in basic sketch mode, which is Q. Hold down the B key and left mouse click, and we get that orange curve. It's called a curve, going all the way around the bottom of the opening. And I don't have to put that red dot right on it. You can see the sphere. The transparent sphere is the sort of the working area. I don't know. There's a better term for it, but I just can't think of it. So as long as the sphere is over the edge, see, if you go over the edge, you lose it. You don't have to be right with your mouse, that red dot right on it. You can just, as long as the sphere is on the edge. Left mouse, hold down the B key, left mouse button, click. Same thing for the top. Think of B border. These are the borders of the mesh. Okay. Now what I like to do next is change the camera mode to orthographic, so that, and then if you rotate, if you hold down the shift key and as you're rotating, and then hold down the shift key, and then rotate with it with the alt shift held down, and then get it towards the front, and then as you're rotating, you let go of the shift key of your mouse button. I'm sorry, your mouse button, left mouse button, it will snap. See, so it's snapping to that. There's snaps to the side, snap to the front, and we're in orthographic mode. Okay, so we could try a laser, which is E on the keyboard for laser, and we could try to go straight from the top, straight down the middle. So let's see, it didn't work. We were off just a little bit. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. See, that time it worked. That time it worked. But if it didn't, and if it was just too tiny of a gap, and there wasn't, see, there's a barely a gap there. You gotta hit it just right. You know, I start up here in the middle, and then I get right down right in there in the middle, and I let go. That's the most accurate way you can do it. But say you just couldn't for whatever reason. Again, you just put that sphere of influence, I guess you would call it, near the middle up there, and I start to draw down here. I let go. I'm going to smooth it a little bit, holding down the shift key. And I could hold down the control key and start where I left off, holding down the control key and left mouse button. And smooth it. And you really have to get in there. And I might even start from this side and try to get right in the middle. And then smooth it. So I was holding down the control key, and instead of starting from the point, I started from the outside and moved in with the control key held down and went over that point and let go, and then smoothed it. So now it's going straight down the middle. Okay. And I could do the same thing here, start the mill. Now I'm not holding down the control key. And now I could either connect these two by holding down the control key. If I didn't hold down the control key, you get these two corners, these two red dots, which wouldn't be the end of the world. You just go into T for edit corner and go over the corner and hold down control and click. So I'm just moving over the corner, that red dot which stands for a corner, and holding down the control key and left mouse clicking on it. So if you make a corner by mistake, it's not that big of a deal. You just get rid of it. Okay. Now so far we're sort of putting the edges right where we had the edges before, you know. And I would definitely do one down the side just like before. Go into basic draw mode, which is Q. Start up here, around here. You could even, I believe you can go into render baseline mesh if you really wanted to see where it was, and you could just sort of follow the same path down, you know, if you wanted. And if you wanted to deform curve, which is W on the keyboard, you could then try to get it to match a little better, then hold down the shift key to smooth. Why isn't it smoothing? There we go. To try to more match the original. If you wanted to go through that much of a hassle. Probably never be able to get it to match perfectly. So the UVs probably wouldn't transfer perfectly. But yeah, you see I got it pretty close. Okay, we'll do this side. Oh, forgot to go into basic draw mode. Q on the keyboard. Okay, then I'm going to smooth it. Whoops. Up if I hold down the shift key. And W on the keyboard. Deform curve. And what you want to do when you're smoothing it is you want to over exaggerate. And then smooth it. It's not smoothing as much as I thought it would smooth. Let's go. There you go. For some reason the edit curve smooth wasn't smoothing as much as I thought it would. Okay. Maybe I have messed up one of the settings. I think, is that the amount of smooth? Anyway, so you just play with it. Like I said, you don't have to do this part. It's only if you're trying to get, if you want to try to transfer the UVs. You know, it's only if you want to try to transfer the UVs that I would be doing this part. Okay. So far it's pretty similar. You would think, I know you couldn't see it, but when we did it in the other video, the previous video, there would have been a hard curve here. And you would think, well, I put a curve there. No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because Sketch Retopo does not like cylinders that only have two curves defining the cylinder going up the leg. Doesn't like that. So what we have to do, and this is where it took me forever to figure this out. Now, now she's upside down. Like, how do I get her upside down? Well, I could either go all the way around that way, or you can do what I call the fishing, reeling it in, doing a circle with your mouse. Reel it in, and then shift. Okay, so what you want to do, what you want to end up with is like a little stick figure man, or a starfish, or however you want to call it, or a crisscross pattern here. So you have the neck, the arms, the legs, and on a male body part. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up. Okay, so go into basic draw mode, and we're going to make an X. Okay, so you want to go like that, right? And then you want to start on this side. You don't want to draw it all the way through, otherwise you'll get more than one corner there. You start on the corner there, just in basic sketch mode. You don't have to hold down Control or anything. Left mouse button and drag that way. Left mouse button and drag that way. Okay, so that's why I say I try to refer to this as a starfish, but even a starfish only has 5 appendages. So an asterisk, I don't know what you want to call this. That's why I was thinking 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, and then uh-oh. So, okay. So you could kind of think of that, okay? And what we're going to be doing next is this one here and this one here is going to go down the pant leg, okay? But we also need a little starfish on the other side. Okay, so it's sort of the same sort of thing. Start basic sketching. I'm just going to start here. Whoops. And you want to make sure you draw through far enough. If you do real short ones, then when you come put these ones in here, these green dots here will be inside the sphere and it gets all messed up. So make sure you draw far enough through the line that your little transparent sphere isn't going to be over any of these. Otherwise, you might get a messed up where you have multiple corners right here. Okay, so I'm just going to draw that way and that way. And then hold down the Shift key just to straighten them out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be extending this. So think of like your panty line, you know, your panty line. So if you go like kind of like that. Oh, and I messed up. I should have held down Control. Okay, and let me get out of orthographic mode. Yeah, I don't like orthographic mode. It can kind of be a little disorienting. Okay, so I'm starting over on this green dot, which is the end of the line. Hold down Control. Control, and I'm going to drop. There we go. That's better. Then I smooth it out. So you see what I mean by sort of like a panty? Think of your panties. And do the same thing over here. Do it out there and then smooth it out. Okay, and we are going to do the same thing going from here to there, and from here, like I said, holding down the Control key, drawing it up and over. Okay, we can already see we're starting to get there. What this edge flow does is it gives it a nice, remember how I was saying in the other video that having an edge flow that kind of moves up on an angle like this is actually better? because that's how the human body more bends. You know, we can bring it down if you look at the mesh itself, how this particular mesh, it kind of is more down here, but we can adjust that, and it's maybe not as on a steep of an angle. So, but it gives us a much nicer edge flow going up and over. Okay, but now to do the pants. Okay, so the pants in basic sketch mode, I should have held down control. Start from there, holding down control, and go down here. Don't go all the way down, because you might want to make some adjustments. So I'm just trying to get these down here and smooth it out a little bit. Oh, and I forgot. So let's go into T mode. Control click. See, it's not that big of a deal. Or edit corner mode, I mean T on the keyboard. Okay, go back to basic mode, basic drawing, which is Q. Hold down the control. Bring that down there. Control. Bring that down there. Okay. So what you want to make sure of is they don't have to be evenly spaced totally into 3 evenly distributed groups, because we're breaking this cylinder into 3 sections, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're breaking it into 3 sections, and you have an inner section, and and 2 outer sections. So you kind of want to make, when you're doing this, you're like, okay, I want to make sure that the left and right look pretty similar. So you can either start down here, hold down control, and move up to connect it. And move up and connect it. Or I could have started there, hold down control, and brought it down to connect it. Okay. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Now when you're looking at these edges, before you really get into anything else, you want to look kind of like at your edge flow of your topology. You can see here that, now let me turn off the base mesh. You can see it easier. You can see it here that the edge flow goes this way. So if you went to deform curve, it'd probably be best to pull this curve a little that way and a little this way, so that it more flows along. It's going to more flow along here. The edge flow is going to flow more like that, so that it flows more with these folds. And then of course you can smooth it a little bit to get a little bit smoother. Okay, same way with this side. And like I said, usually you overdo it a little bit, so that when you smooth it, you get something that's much more what you're looking for. See? Okay, so it's like over-exaggerate it and then smooth it. And then you can pull this back. So you get better edge flow. Same way with here. Let's pull this forward. Of course, now that we've moved it forward, it's not going to be following the original edge if you were going to try to copy the UVs over. I would probably highly recommend making your own UVs when you're using Sketch Retopo, that you're not going to be able to get a perfect UV copy over from Marvelous Designer like we did before. So I would more apt to get better edge flow, more important than getting Marvelous Designer's UVs. And same sort of here. Over exaggerated a little bit. Let's smooth it out. There we go. You say edge flow, you're always thinking you want the edge to flow right on top of the fold, either along with the fold or directly going up and over the shortest distance, not on a shallow angle. Okay. So let's see. So I think it's C on the keyboard in basic draw mode. And see, this area right in here isn't folding, isn't generating the quads yet. So how you get that to generate normally, let's see, I believe you hold down C on the keyboard in basic draw mode. You start off on one curve, and then you hold down your left mouse button and you start to draw it over to the opposite curve, and you let go. Why isn't this? Or maybe is it X? Oh, it's X. I'm sorry, not C, X. I believe C. Yeah, C. If you draw over, deletes. Sorry, X, not C. C, X, not C. You would think X would be delete. So X, hold down X, start on a curve, one of the curves. This is an orange curve. These are all curves. The yellow ones are curves. Those are considered curves. Your curve makes up the patch. Okay, X, draw over. X, draw over. Like I said, hold down X key, left mouse button on the curve, draw over, and usually, come in. There you go. Okay. Sometimes it is, like I said, tricky. When you're drawing over to another curve that has been refilled, if you try to end the drawing stroke onto where you see the edge of a quad is, you know, like I said, if I Control Z back, let's see, like, so if I start here where there's an edge loop starting there, and I'm saying connect it with over here, you'll have a better luck getting it to draw in. Okay, now I highly recommend, and I should have done this at the very beginning after I imported the base mesh, is if you're using, this program tends to crash, is this go save XML. I'm saving it on Retopo, and we're just going to call it Retopo Pants XML. Make sure the .xml is there when you do that. Okay, so now if it crashes, it will auto-save every 30 seconds. If it crashes, the most you'll lose of work is 30 seconds. Okay, so like I said, the big key to pants is the starfish. That's what you want to call it, a 6-armed starfish. And so in the front and in the back. So think of the two naughty places down there. So it's right there. I don't know that. Yeah, that's probably pretty. This could be brought down just a little bit, but you know what I mean. So that's about the locations that you want them to be at. Okay, so now we got that there, and you can see we've got already pretty nice edge flow, but we need a much higher quad count. This is ridiculously low. So the first thing I normally do is if you hit A on the keyboard, you go into Edit Topology. And if you click on that, that tells us that we have 8 quads along this curve. If you hold down the Control key and click on it, it's going to run along this edge loop here, and it's going to select all the edges in that area. And you see they're all 8, 8, and 8. And now what are they? And if I hold down Control over here, it selects all these, and that they're also 8, 8, and 8. If they were different numbers, I would make sure you make them even, that you make sure they're all the same numbers, and that they're all even. Even numbers work much better than odd numbers. I'm going to hit C on the keyboard to increase it by 2. I still need more than that. More, 16, more, 18, maybe 20. Okay, now if you get this happening, see it's getting all messed up over here, I'm going to deselect. If you go into the Move tool, the Move Vertex, which is D, sometimes this is mainly where the program is going to crash, but sometimes to fix this, you could either do 2 things. Well, we could try the basic sketch mode. Let's see, is it? Whoops, sorry. Okay. Hold down the V key on the keyboard and click with your left mouse button. And you got to click on an actual face. See, if I click down here, it may not work. See, it doesn't work because I'm not actually clicking on the mesh. I'm clicking on the base mesh here because these quads are all messed up from the Retopo. So you got to make sure you click on where you see a Retopo mesh, a Retopo quad. So hold down the V key, left mouse button to delete that face, and then you can try to draw the face in again. It may come in better. So that would be X on the keyboard, start on one side, draw over to the other side. Nope, it still came in messed up. Sometimes that works to redraw a patch or refill in a patch. But when it doesn't, let's hope this works. Okay, we go D on the keyboard to get into move mode. You hold down the Control key and you just click in here. And that didn't help. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It did there. See, it worked on that one. See, we're in move, hold down the Control key and left mouse click, and it worked on that one, but it didn't work on this one. So what we're going to do is Control V back, and let's go into, we're in the move mode, but let's hold down the Shift key and let's start smoothing out this area. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you gotta see it wrapped around here. Okay. Sometimes, whoops. Okay, so what we're gonna have to do now, we're gonna have to go into Deform Curve and try to get these to, there we go. Sometimes you have to do that. You got to move the curve itself because it was, I guess, just too close to here and it was snapping over. I think it was just a little bit too close. So, okay. So, let's continue on. So we got, these were all in A on the keyboard again in Edit Topology mode. Like I say, keep an eye down here when I'm going into these different modes. Hold down the Control key. See, these are all 20, 20, and 20. I think now what we need to do is we need to more focus in on, that's going to change the quads going along here, but we need more division in between here. Like we definitely need more quads here and here. Here and here. And while the quads down here are kind of okay, down where the pants get skinny, definitely up here we need more quads. And so let's do here, and you see these are 2, we're going to need a lot more, so let's do the back first. C on the keyboard increases the number of quads, and that 10 That looks pretty good. Okay. And we definitely need more quads here than 2, 2, and 2. And I'm just holding down the Shift key and selecting these manually. See on the keyboard. Let's keep it even. 10 in the front, 10 in the back. Although the back is bigger because the butt gets bigger, so we could do 8 in the front. If you really want to try to get efficient and not need extra quads where you not put extra quads and polygons where you don't need them, the butt, because it's going to expand and it's already a bigger area because the butt bulges out and this area is much flatter, it doesn't need as much. Okay, but we definitely need more here. So we can go 2 and 2. We may not need 8, but 8 actually probably, let's see, oh no, that's 4. What are these? These are 8. Yeah, we probably don't need 8 down here, but we could see what 8 looks like. The nice thing is if you do keep it the same, you just get these long straight, you do get these long straight edge loops. But down here it's really kind of a waste, but it's not that bad. You could go with 6. And then, see, that gives us these poles, they're called. Sometimes they're called poles. Sometimes they're called singularities. And then if you go in edit topology mode, you can click and we can decide where these poles are going to be. We know I'd probably put them down below the knee because we know we're going to need more around the knee area. And for some reason, lots of times it does opposite. Down is up, up is down, left is right, right is left. Or you could put it right. No, I'd probably put it right below the knee. But everybody has their different opinion. And I try to keep them even. And yes, they do have a Sketch Retopo does have a symmetry, so if your mesh was perfectly symmetrical, you could do it. I like doing it the whole thing. I don't know. But it's totally up to you. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and the inside legs. Okay, the inside legs definitely need more. Need more than 2. So edit topology. So holding down control, we definitely need more than 2. We definitely need more than 2 down here. So there's 4. And 4 looks pretty good for the bottom. So let's just click off there and click this again. But we definitely need more than 4 at the in the crotch area. Okay, and now this is where these poles can come in handy. Because see, the poles have a sort of a natural curve to them. So if you put it in this area here, if you bring it down a little bit more, they kind of make their own nice little curve. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. How many we went 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 2. We went a little too far. 3, and yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so that's kind of the inner part of the leg. Okay, definitely need a lot more than, because look at this whole area. These are, oh wait, let's try moving the poles down. Let's see what the poles look like if we move them down. So this is where it's kind of like, you kind of see, yeah, that's actually looking pretty good. So if we pull this down, go one more, no. Pull this down, these natural curves and crisscross actually kind of go better with the edge flow, and then we got much more down there. So the poles can actually kind of come in handy Okay. Okay, and actually, I'm going to do, these are like French cut. I'm gonna bring down the, so it's gonna, that's the bad thing. Once you move the curve, this is gonna be all messed up. So we'll have to do it again. So I actually kind of like it kind of like that. That's much better of an edge flow. So I think less French cut and more granny panty. I cracked myself up. There we go. I hate to say it. See, I could have pulled this in a little bit more. Probably would have been a little bit better. But if I do that, all the work we've done so far is going to get messed up. As soon as I pull this down in, the work we did in here is going to get messed up. That's why I say you should really try to get your curves the way you really want them to be. Now luckily it didn't mess all our the work that we did here. Okay. But we definitely need, I went from edit curve mode or deform curve mode, which is W, to A, which is edit topology, because now 2 quads definitely is not enough. So let's go C on the keyboard, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Let's try 12. This is probably okay, but I'll probably increase that to 4. Let's increase that to 4. And then we can play with the poles here. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, wait, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they're the same. And that looks pretty good. And she has more topology in this area. You know what? Might need more. Might need more. Let's do 16. And we're going to have to increase this. We don't have to, but I would increase it to 6. Because we need to make sure that we get enough topology in that area. And see that pole here? It's just sliding up this and it's getting to that corner and stopping. Could I make it go up? I could make it go up, but it actually looks nice right there on that corner. Kind of disappears that pole. So I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Down and come on, you. Doesn't want to go there. Come on, get down there. Why won't you go down? Oh, because I didn't change it over here. Or did I? I could have swore I did. Let's see. Yeah, it's 6. Why isn't it going down? Maybe there's not enough room? It won't go in that corner for some reason. It won't go down. Okay, so we got trying to keep this symmetrical. Okay, that's a lot better. And we can, if you can go, well, we can work with this. Okay, so that's the back. The front definitely needs more. So if we go 6, which is the same as the others, we get just that nice flat area. That's pretty good. Okay, so once you get your quad count down and you get as many topologies as you think you need, definitely see this is more dense than over here. So when it gets big, we got nice edge flow along here. Now we can kind of go in and start to smooth things out. So if you go into Move Vertex tool and you hold down the Shift key and left mouse click, you can sort of start to smooth this out a little bit. You can come into here. Yeah, see, once you start to smooth, I really think you're not going to get much luck. Trying to get this so that you can transfer the UVs from Marvelous Designer perfectly. Just smoothing this out. I'm just holding down the Shift key while in Move Vertex mode and left mouse button and moving the mouse. I don't know why I'm thinking Spider-Man right now. And this is where you could push these out a little bit to make them a little more dense. In that area, and then smooth it just slightly. Now, even though the mesh isn't visible, it is smoothing it against the shape of the original mesh. Okay, and if you pull something off the edge, see, like there, you just, instead of smoothing, just pull it up a little bit. This is moving the vertices, just holding down the left mouse button and not smoothing it with the shift. You can move vertices around a little bit if you need to. Smooth it. So I'm smoothing and so like smoothing it, and then if I moved it, if I need to move anything like pulling things that have fallen off of the edge of the mesh, I can pull it down like that without using the Shift key. Just left mouse button and drag. I'm trying to see, maybe pull that down a little bit more. Trying to make this a little, yeah, there we go. And like I said, just smoothing it in here. Here. If I wanted to try to increase this so it flows along that. That's when you use the, think of instead of when you're smoothing it, when you're using the vertex, the bigger the ball, which is I'm holding down the right mouse button and dragging left and right to increase the size of that ball. That's like increasing the size of the brush. It's like a soft select brush. You're moving it and then smooth to try to get a little bit better edge flow in this area. And again, you kind of over exaggerate first, whoops, and then smooth it. And if we needed to move that over a little more, so it's not quite so. There we go. That's not looking too bad. There we go. Like I said, I might want to pick this one up, move it over a little bit. So that's not looking too bad. So like I say, you want to keep an eye on the edge flow here, you know. Oops, and then I got to pull that up a little bit. And now that's looking pretty good. Let's see if I can't pull that down a little bit. There we go. There we go. That's better. Okay, so after you're done smoothing and pushing around, you know, to get better edge flow, that's how you can get much better edge flow. It makes really pretty meshes too, when you get these nice curves, which is more like how the body would bend. And once you're pretty happy with the mesh that you created, then, you know, like I said, it'll save automatically every 30 seconds. You go to export out your Retopo mesh, and we'll call these Retopo pants. Make sure, Retopo pants, make sure you leave the .obj. If you don't, it'll either won't export out or it won't export out as an obj. See, it's not defined as what it is. It just says mesh files. So you need to, and it only exports out in OBJ format. So don't know why. Never tried .fbx, but it's OBJ. You export out as OBJ. And then you click save. And now I'm going to pause video. We'll go back into Maya. Okay, so now here we are back in Maya. And we're going to bring in our pants. Import Retopo pants, and it comes in sideways because it was the original file from Blender. I mean, not from Blender, we did it on the original file from Marvelous Designer. So let's move this out of the way, and let's rotate this 90 degrees, and we'll freeze transformation. And you can see those thick lines. It is a single mesh, but these thick lines represent where those curves were, and it represents where those curves were, and they're not merged together. They're actually separate. So the first thing you need to do is merge components. Okay, that gets rid of those thick lines. Now everything is all those different sections. Each one of those patches, those that where those curves met, where the corners were, and all that kind of stuff on the curves, those are, and the insides, those were the patch. Anyway, you understand. You just watched the video. You saw that they lined up where these other ones were. Okay, so we merged it. You're like, shut up. Just keep going. So we merged it. You have to merge it first. And yes, if we turn off wireframe unshaded, you can see everything's hard edge. You can even see it's faceted. So we want to soften edge, normals, soften edge. And now we have nice soft edges, although we need to, what went on here? Did it merge? Let's make sure the merge is 0.001. 0.001. No, it must have been the original mesh that we did. Whoa. Oh, got messed up. Okay, hold on. Okay, what had happened is in Sketch Retopo, when we were pushing things around, a couple of faces got really messed up. Or it looks like it was only one or two. Okay, so I'm just going to select. Oh, come on. I want that one. Not that one. Okay. Want that one. Okay. So I'm just going to average mesh. Average vertices. Duh. Been working in Maya for how long? Okay, just click, 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 click. Just averaging the vertices. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to hit Q on the keyboard to get back in the select tool mode so I can just, come on, vertice. Come on, Q to get rid of the draw mode. I'll come here being a, oh, it is selected. There we go. Okay. What the heck is going on here? It's being a butthead. Okay, let's see. Stop it. Sometimes you just want to scream. Vertex mode. It's not let me select it that way. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. I finally got it. Okay. Just hitting G on the keyboard to average it out again. Okay, now we got that fixed. Okay, so now that we have that fixed, we can go into object mode. And, okay, so quad count. Let's compare, that's 1,313 compared to 2,800. Wait a minute, was that the one we wanted? We thought we'd, yeah, yeah, I think it was this one. The last one, yeah. So 2,600 versus 1,300. Now, if we needed more edge loops in different areas, we could easily insert them. And you'll have, and this is a perfect quads. There's no triangles in here anywhere. But if you look, you can't really see a difference between these two. If we wanted to, we could add a couple of edge loops in here to get a little bit more definition. And then we could, in 3D Coat, you know, snap to that shape. But anyway, as you can see, it's a lot fewer quads. Or we could have gone back into, okay, let's go, all done. Okay, so here we are back in Sketch Retopo, and you can see that's where the thing got messed up. So, I wonder if it will let me. See, it only doesn't let me, it only lets me do it on the outside of the mesh. I know it's these, so I think we're going to have to. What I'm doing is I'm holding down the control key and clicking, and that fixed it. Okay, so what we would need to do if we wanted to get more definition in this area is we could do edge loop. You know, we could insert more edge loops where we need to. To get more definition in that area. Ooh, that's interesting. Why does it go all the way around to the other side there? That's weird. Okay, let's try that again. Let's insert it. That's weird. I haven't never seen it go on disconnected arms before. It didn't do it up here, but once we got down to here, it did. That's weird. Yeah, so now, because here are the knees right here. So now we've inserted more edge. And I think we're going to get it to crash. Okay, so it did crash. But as you see, it did get these edge loops in here. So it didn't crash too badly. Edge loops, there we go. Edge loops is F on the keyboard. So let's put these in here. Let's do, yeah. Let's, yeah. And yes, it did crash again. Let's try this again. I know we need an edge loop here. Let's try this one more time. Okay. Frick. Frick, 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 frick. Okay. Do not. Every time I try to put an edge loop like here, near these poles, and notice how it goes on both sides of the legs, that should have probably be a warning sign. I've never seen it do that before, and that's probably why it's crashing. You know, so whatever you do, you know, so yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's put one more, like right there. Okay, and then let's go into the move and let's smooth this out just a little bit so they're not quite so scrunched up together. And there we go, so that we got enough edge flow in this area for the knees. Okay, there we go, that's much better. Okay, so now we have enough edges along the knee part to get good deformation when the knee bends. Okay, so let's see. And we fixed this. And let's see if we need to move anything to get back to the edge flow. No, that looks pretty good. And that looks pretty good. Okay. I wonder if, see, these quads look rather really big, right? Should we, and we're not seeing it go across to the other one, so if we put an edge one there, edge in there to get a little bit more. That was looking a little bit big in that area. So that looks better, a little more evenly spaced. So, okay. And then I could come in here with the move tool and smooth this just a little bit. Smooth that out just a little. better. That looks better. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot better. You could spend hours. Whoops. Trying to get this just right, which might be worth it. Pull that up a little bit. There we go. Alrighty. Okay. And just move that a little bit. Alrighty. Okay, so we got this looking better. We got our edge loops put in where our knees are supposed to go. We could have added the edge loops in Maya, but they might not have followed the form of the original mesh. Whoops. Might not have followed the form of the mesh as well as we would hoped in the knee area. So let's export this out again. Export Retopo mesh. Export right over the old one. Say OK, and I'll meet you in Maya. Okay, so here we are in Maya. Here are those pants that we just did. Let's import the other ones, the new one. Import. Oh, import. Cancel that. I want the XML. Import Retopo pants. Okay, of course they're going to be on their side. J. We need to merge it. You can see where the curves were. We got our more edge loops in here in the knee where we needed to deform. We could, okay, so we need to merge components. Good. I like just going into object mode when I soften edge. You don't have to. Oh, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. That's just a habit I've been in. So there we go. And yeah, and now we have more. It's following the more defined knee. So okay. So here's the one we did before. It doesn't have enough in the edge loops, and it was 1313 number of vertices, or 2.5 K mesh. This is a 2.8 mesh and 1,471 vertices. So, and it's perfectly symmetrical, you know, or it's not perfectly symmetrical, but it's perfect quads, absolutely perfect quads. It's a really nice looking mesh. Here's the one we did with quad remesher. It's a 5.6, so it's almost double. It's almost double, but we did it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. You know, this, we're at an hour. Now, I was talking through the whole thing, and we ran into some problems with the program crashing. So I'd say if I wasn't talking and I could just concentrate, maybe 25 minutes, half hour, 15 minutes if I was working really fast. You know, so it's totally up to you. I mean, both of them are pretty. You know, this is a little bit more of a generic, you know, this has a little bit more style to it, I think. You know, but it's a lot more work. So, you know, now let's try copying the UVs over. Okay, so there's the original pants. So let's let's copy the UVs over, right? And we're going to see what the UVs look like. Okay, so we select the original, shift select the ones we're going to transfer the attributes over to. Go to transfer attributes, and we've already had all the settings that we did before, so I'm just going to click transfer attributes, and now let's deselect that. Let's select the pants. See, you don't get that nice edge. These would actually be okay UVs. They're not horrible UVs. They would be usable, and they would probably look just fine. You know, they would probably look just fine if you really wanted to use the UVs from Marvelous Designer. They're not going to be the identical UVs like we did get from on, wait, which ones were they? Is it this one? I could have swore we had one where we transferred the UVs. Oh, I could have swore we had one that, anyway, where'd it go? Went somewhere. Anyway, but we had perfect UV transfer on one of the versions that we did. So, but anyway, it's like I said, you get very efficient mesh. Oh, see, now they're going to be all messed up because I moved it, because I didn't delete history. Delete history. You know, because I didn't, you know, it is a lot more efficient mesh, and as you can see, it looks pretty identical to these down here for almost half. So, but it's a lot more of an investment. So, yeah, but definitely worth. I will say this though, if you're going to be making game assets, this might be okay. The best one that we did might be okay. Where is it? I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it was this one. This might be okay. The UVs probably wouldn't be considered good UVs from Marvelous Designer. So if we transferred attributes with this mesh, transfer attributes, where did my, let me open up my UV editor, and let me delete history. Delete history. Okay. See, it does have perfect UVs that match the original together. These wouldn't be bad UVs. You know, these wouldn't be particularly bad UVs. But I'm not, although this, you know, it's, did I delete the history? I think I did. Delete history. You know, gaming assets, if you're going to sell this like on Turbo Squid, this is better. It's much lower poly. I would do custom UVs on this. This is okay topology. This is actually pretty good topology. It's just a lot more dense. You could come in here and delete edge loops. Try to delete edge loops to make it less dense. Like I would delete a few edge loops along in here to get the poly count down. It's just that this would be a much better for gaming asset with better UVs than this. So you really should, if you're going to be selling gaming assets, try to learn how to manually topologize. Although if you're going to be selling it, you can't use Sketch Retopo, because Sketch Retopo is not, you're not supposed to use it for commercial purposes. So you couldn't sell it using Sketch Retopo. It does show you how it should be. Now, if I remember right, there is a version of Sketch Retopo for Blender that pretty much works the same way. So you could practice and learn on Sketch Retopo. Hopefully they will someday, it's been 3 years, come out with a commercial version or a commercial license that people could use the Sketch Retopo for commercial purposes, and then since you're familiar with it, you'll hit the ground running. You know, or if you can get the one for Blender, which I believe is allowed for commercial purposes. I believe pretty much anything that's in Blender should be allowed to be used for commercial purposes. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of the video. I'm sorry it took so long. It's over an hour. It's just a lot more work to do in Sketch Retopo than Quad Remesher, but it might be worth it. So it just depends on what you're doing and what you're trying to learn, and what you're doing it for. So awesome. So have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.